Hello everyone. Once again, welcome to PM Networking. Hope you all are doing great. Guys, this video is going to guide you to learn NAT. NAT stands for Network Address Translation. Guys, NAT is a very important topic for CCNA and CCNP and for network engineer as well. If you are a network engineer, if you are working in industry, this topic is very important for you because nowadays we are using this technology. Yes, NAT is a technology, or you can say NAT is a process. What is the use of NAT? NAT is used to make communication possible between private and public. So today we are going to understand everything about NAT, like what is NAT, how NATs work, how many types of NAT are there. Actually, there are three types of NAT: static, dynamic, and overloading, that is PAT. So we are going to cover everything about network address translation in this video. So maybe video length can be large, so make sure if you want to learn entire things about network address translation, make sure you will watch this video till the end. Then only you can understand everything. And I am damn sure, guys, if you will watch this video till the end, you don't need to watch any other video to learn NAT, or you don't need to watch my video right next time to watch to understand NATing, network address translation. You will never forget. If for your lifetime today you are going to learn NATing, network address translation. Okay, for lifetime I am promising you promising you will not forget these concepts, whatever concept are there inside the NAT. Okay, so guys, without wasting our time, let's begin the topic. First of all, why we come up with NAT? What is the need of NAT? That means why. So guys, if something is in your mind, try to recall that first. After that, let's see my definition why NAT is required. Okay, NAT is required to reduce the shortage of IPv4 address. As you know, why we come up with subnetting? To reduce the shortage of IPv4 address. Why we come up with VLSM? This NAT is also the reason, right? Why we come up with NAT, just to reduce the shortage of IPv4 address, because we have very less IPv4 address. So through NAT, one organization can be represented on the public network through a single IP address. Through a single IP address, one organization can be specified on public network with single IP address. This is, I am talking about the public IP address. Okay, see how. First of all, see this topology. This is my inside network. This is my private network. This is also my private network. Okay, so here whatever IP address I will configure, that IP address on these machines, I will configure IP from private IP address, from the range of private IP address. As you already know, there are two types of IP address, private and public. So here in my private network, we are going to use private IP address, and this is public network. Yes. So here what IP address we are going to use? Public. So here you can see I am running 101.1.1.0/24 between router 1 and ISP router. So this is public. And guys, by default, private to public communication is not possible. Means private network cannot communicate with public network. Okay, and see, if there are 100 users in this private network, so if these 100 users want to communicate with internet, want to access this 8.8.8.8 which is running on ISP router, we need how many public IP address? 100 public IP address. Yes or no? One IP address for one user. So again, if I will use, if I will configure public IP address on all machines, definitely NAT is not required. But guys, we have shortage of IPv4 address. We don't have much IP address so that I can configure one IP address to each machine in the entire world. Okay, so that's why I have divided IPv4 address into two parts: private and public. Okay, so private IP address can be reusable. Okay, that means here I am running this public network. In my another organization also I can run same same private network. Or like me, there are million of company who is using this private IP address in their network. There are million of companies who is using this private IP address in their network. Okay, and same private IP address here I am also using, because ISP, my public network, know your private network with public IP address, not with private IP address. So this is the public IP address 101.1.1 for this organization, right? So representation of this organization is with single IP address on public network, yes or no? Now ISP is knowing this private network with this single public IP address, yes or no? So these private IP address are unknown for public network, so definitely we can use this same private IP address in other network as well. So that's why we come up with NAT to avoid the shortage of IPv4 address, so that multiple people can use same private IP address, multiple organizations can use same private network ID in their network. Okay, now guys, what will happen? See, if here I am running what private IP address, here I am running what public IP address, so private to public communication is not possible. So what we need here, we need NATing. Here we need NATing. NAT stands for network address translation. What this router will do, what I want, that suppose the IP address of current computer is 192.168.10.1, 192.168.10.1. Whenever Karan wants to reach internet 8.8.8, it will forward traffic to their default gateway, yes or no? Source IP address will be this one, 192.168.10.1, and destination IP address will be what, 8.8.8.8. First of all, on your edge router you will define a default route towards ISP, because in the routing table of your edge router it is not possible to configure all networks which are connected with ISP, because there are million of network connected with ISP. So we cannot configure routing for all network. So here we need to define one default route, 0.0.0.0 towards ISP. So destination is 8.8.8. So in the routing table of this router, match is not available. So it will use default route towards ISP. It is going to forward this traffic to ISP. But before forwarding, if you will configure NAT over here, what this router will do, this router will translate your source into public IP address. This is your private IP address. So here this is your public IP address. So this router is responsible to translate source IP address, source private IP address into public IP address. And one more thing guys, see, this is my ISP router. If you will check the configuration of ISP router, here ACL is running on this interface also and on this interface also. Only public IP address are allowed here, right? Private IP address are not allowed. So suppose if you will configure route on this router, it will forward traffic to ISP, but here private IP address is not allowed. So 192.168.10.0 is not allowed over here. So definitely it will drop it. If you want to check ACL, let me show you ACL configuration first on ISP router. I have access of all devices. Let me show you. Okay, this is ISP. So IP interface brief. So see, this is IP configuration of ISP router. Here I am running one loopback 8.8.8. Okay, now so run interface F0/0. Here you can see one ACL is running, yes or no? Name of ACL is allowed underscore 101.1.1.0 in direction, yes or no? If you will open this access list, so access list, and name of access list is allow 101.1.1.0. See which IP address is permit guys, 101.1.0. Only public IP address are allowed over here. So if your edge router will directly forward traffic to ISP with private source IP address, this ISP router will drop it. Okay, so what this router will do, this router will translate source IP address into public IP address. Suppose my source private IP address is 192.168.10.1. So it will translate it into a public IP address. Suppose public IP address which is running over here. So that will be, depends on the configuration, that in which public IP address router will translate private IP address. That will be depend on your configuration, right? So we are going to understand NATing, but for now just I am making you understand, what is the basic funda behind network address translation. So suppose it will translate source into this public IP address 101.1.1.1. Okay, so earlier if this router was sending update uh, traffic with this source, in the routing table of ISP router, root for this network is also not available, and private IP address is not allowed over here. Yes or no? So ISP cannot generate reply. Suppose if I will remove ACL from here, then also ISP cannot generate reply, because in the ISP routing table you will not see this entry for this private network. Yes or no? So what this router will do, this router will translate source private into public. So this time in traffic, source will be what, 101.1.1.1, and destination will be what, 8.8.8.8. And now this router is going to forward this traffic to ISP. This time ISP will check destination, so destination is 8.8.8, and from where this traffic is coming, 101. Source is 101.1.1.1. That means this is public IP address. This is allowed on this interface. So this ISP will generate reply where source will be 8.8.8 and destination will be what, 101.1.1.1, because in the traffic source is this IP address, this public IP address. So ISP will generate reply for this destination. Yes or no? Yes. And when router will receive this reply message, again this router will do what? This time this router is going to translate destination 101.1.1.1 into 192.168.10.1. So this is NAT. This is how NAT works. Whenever it will receive traffic on inside interface, it will translate private source IP address into public, and whenever this router will receive or any traffic on outside interface, it will translate destination public into private. Okay guys, now so here also I need to configure NAT, and here also I need to configure what, NAT. But guys, make sure if you are configuring NAT, you will configure one default route towards ISP as well. Okay, now how many flavor we have in NATing? So we have three types of NATing are there. First one is static NAT. Second one is dynamic NAT. And third one is overload, that is nothing but PAT, port address translation. Guys, static NAT is one-to-one translation. One-to-one translation. Suppose if you want to translate the private IP address of current into a single public IP address, this public IP address, you can configure a static NAT. But Rabi cannot access internet. If you want to, allow Rabi to access internet, you have to make one more entry over here in a static NAT. Yes or no? Because this is one-to-one translation. One private IP address will be translated into single public IP address, and in the same way when reply will come, same public IP address will be translated in private IP address. Are you getting my point, guys? What I am saying, that static NAT is one-to-one translation. One private IP address can be translated into one single public IP address. And one more thing over here, most of the people are saying we are not using static NAT nowadays, but guys, still we are using static NAT. See the scenario when you need to use a static NAT in your network. Whenever in your network there are resources, there are server. Suppose here in this network in side B, you can see I have placed one server, and I want to give access of this server to outside user, right? To outside user in the entire world. So all outside users should be able to access this server. So, and you want to hide your private IP address as well. You can hide by using static NAT. So here, whenever you have server in your network and you want to give access of that server to outside user, you need to configure a static NAT in that scenario. So here on router number 3, you should configure what? A static NAT. And this is your public IP address. Suppose I have configured a static NAT for this server to this public IP address. Suppose IP address of this server is 192.168.20.2. So I have configured a static NAT, right? So this private IP address will be translated into this public IP address. So whenever this router will receive any traffic on this interface, where destination will be what? 102.1.1.1, it will automatically translate into this private IP address, because here you have mapped one public IP address into one private IP address. So this is, one to one mapping. You can say one to one mapping. So you are doing what? You are actually mapping one private IP address into one public IP address. So from outside user, whenever outside user will, try to hit on your server, they will hit on the public IP address, and your router will translate your public IP address into private IP address. Okay. So whenever we want to give the access of my network resources to outside user, that time we need to configure a static NAT. Okay. After that, second type of NAT is dynamic NAT. Guys, suppose in a static NAT, if I want to configure a static NAT over here on router number 1, how many users are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many public IP addresses are required? 5. 5 public IP addresses are required, yes or no? To allow these 5 users to access internet. Suppose there are 100 users inside A. So is it possible to configure a static NAT 100 public IP address? To purchase 100 public IP address is not possible, guys. Okay. So here we cannot configure a static NAT. So what type of NAT we can configure over here? Second type of NAT, that is dynamic NAT. In dynamic NAT, what you will do? Actually, you will purchase a pool of public IP address. Suppose you have purchased, 101.1, 101.2, 101, 101.3, 101.4 and 101.5. So you are using how many IP address? One over here on this interface and one public IP address over here. How many free IP address are there? 3. So you can create a pool of these IP address, these public IP address, and you can configure dynamic NAT. So whenever this router will receive a request for outside user for the internet, suppose Karan is requesting, Karan is generating a traffic for 8.8.8. One router will receive, it will translate private IP address into one public IP address from this pool. Suppose it have translate current IP address into this public IP address. When Rabi will send request, it will translate into another public IP address, this one. Suppose when this server is requesting, it will translate into this public IP address. When server 2 is requesting, it is translating into this IP address. When this server is generating request for internet, it will translate into this public IP address. And suppose there are one more user over here. So guys, if this router have translated, these all users are now using internet, so there is connection between private and public. So NAT table of this router is now full. So if next user will generate a request for HTTP, this router will drop that traffic, because at a time only 5 user can access internet, because we have only 5 public IP address in the pool. This is dynamic NAT. Okay. So if you have less user in your network, you can configure dynamic NAT. Most of the people are saying we are not using dynamic NAT. No, we are still using dynamic NAT as well, but really most of the organizations are not using. Very less organizations are using dynamic NAT. Static NAT is required. We all are using a static NAT. It depends on our requirement. In dynamic NAT, there is problem. Suppose you have created a pool of 5 IP address. That means only 5 devices can communicate to internet at a time. At the same time, not more than 5 users can access internet. Okay, in dynamic NAT. And suppose Karan have received the reply message. So it will free this IP address. So now this IP address, this public IP address is free. So next time when this machine will generate traffic for ISP, it will translate into this public IP address. This is how dynamic NAT will work. After that, problem is still there. Problem is what? In a static NAT, we need lots of public IP address, so we cannot configure a static NAT for user. A static NAT is for resources only. In dynamic NAT, we will create a pool of public IP address. Suppose we have five public IP address in a pool. That means only 5 devices can reach to internet at a time. So third type of NATing is PAT, port address translation. Port address translation. Guys, in PAT, just you need a single public IP address. So this is first benefit. You don't need to purchase 5 public IP address over here. A single public IP address. Through a single IP address, you can translate the all users private IP address into public IP address. How? Because PAT is overloading. It is going to use port number, upper layer protocol like TCP and UDP. Suppose if Karan is generating a request, it will translate current private IP address 192.168.10.1 into this public IP address 101.1.1.1, and here it is going to provide source port and destination port. Suppose source port is P1, destination port is P2. So when this router will receive reply, it will check the port first, right? Now PAT is going to perform translating on the basis of port number. So if source port is what, guys? P1, and destination port is what? If destination port is P1, this router will came to know that I need to translate this IP address into this private IP address. This is public IP, this private IP address. At the same time, if Ravi will also generate request, it will translate Ravi private IP address into public IP address, same public IP address 1.1.1, but port number is suppose 3 and 4. Yes or no? So now router is translating private into public on the basis of port number. So all user can access internet at the same time, because now we don't need a pool of IP address. I need only single public IP address, and this is the method which nowadays we are using. Got it? So hope it's clear to you guys. If anyone have any doubt, you can let me know in comment. This is theory part. This is completely theory part. In practically I am going to show you, and then I will make you understand everything very clearly. Okay guys, but before that, before configuring NAT on your edge router, there is some things that you need to keep in mind. First thing is you have to identify your inside and outside interface. Inside interface is my private interface, and the outside interface is my public interface. So first of all, you have to identify which interface is inside and which interface is outside. After that, guys, on a router, suppose inside and outside both network are both type of interfaces not available, there you cannot configure NAT. So NAT is suitable on those router where private and public network are connected. So like this, like on router number 1, you can see this router have connected private network as well as public network. So here I need to configure NAT. Here we need to configure NAT. Okay. Now we have some John in NATing, in network address translation. First is inside local. Guys, inside local means your private network. This is inside local. Second type of zone is inside global. Inside global means your public network. Third one is outside local. Guys, outside local means suppose this ISP is connected with one Google. Suppose here are lots of server of Google. This is network of Google. right? So Google have also their private network, yes or no? So this is, suppose here is Google have also private network, yes or no? This is switch, and through this switch there are lots of servers, suppose. Okay, through one router you will connect Google network through ISP, yes or no? So if you want to access this Google server from here, from current computer, so outside local means the Google private network. Outside local means Google private. This is the Google private network. So this network will be considered as outside local network inside your site A. Okay. And fourth type of zone is outside global. And outside global means my remote global IP address, like Google public IP address, public network. So this is outside local, this is outside local, this is inside global, and this is inside local. Let me make you understand again. See, for site A, this is my inside local network, this is my inside global network, and this is outside local, and this is outside global. Okay, in the same way for this side B, this is inside local, this is inside global, this is outside global, and this is outside local. Okay, so there are only 4 zones in the NATing, in network address translation. Guys, this is all about theory. Now I am going to show you practically things. First of all, to configure NAT, here you have to define, you have to tell to this router that which interface is your inside interface and which interface is your outside interface. Okay, first of all, I am going to configure NATing over here. Here I am going to configure, a static NAT, right? Because I want to give access of this server to outside user. Suppose here you can see there is one user who is connected with internet. So this user should be able to access my server through my public IP address. Okay, now let me show you. First of all, let me check configuration, guys. Here also I have mentioned IP address. You can see what IP address where I am running. Okay, on router number 1, if you want to check again, let me show you. So IP interface brief. Okay, so you can see these are IP configuration. So IP root static. Have I configured any root? Let me check. Yes, default root is available there, and next of IP address is, you can see, my local, my global IP address. Yes or no? My global IP address. This IP address is running on ISP router. Okay, let me take you on ISP router if you want to check configuration of ISP. Here you can see access list is enabled on F0/0 also, and on 0/1 also, I think on F1/0. Here also you can see access list is configured. Yes or no? If you want to open this access list, see, so access list, and let me put it. So you can see only this public network is allowed over here. Okay, after that, so IP root, here we have not configured any root, and we are not allowed to configure ISP router. So here I am not going to configure any root, right? Here we cannot configure any routing protocol or a static root. Okay, just I need to configure one IP address over here on this interface, because on this interface I am not running any IP address. So let me configure this interface as well, guys. Config T and interface F2/0. IP address is, let's say, 10.1.1.255.255.255.0. I have configured this IP address over here. Now let me show you the configuration of router number 3 here. So IP interface brief, and let's say exclude and assign as well. Okay, so here you can see these are IP configuration, and so IP root static. So here I am not running default route. So first of all, let me configure one default route over here. IP root 0.0.0.0.0.0 and next hop IP address will be 102.1.1.2. Okay. Now I am going to define inside and outside interface to this router. Before that, if you want to check IP address of server, so let me check. So IP interface brief. On server, guys, you can see what IP address I am running, this IP address. Here I am going to define what? One-to-one translation, a static NAT. So first of all, here I need to run noset command because this interface is administratively done. Interface F0/0 say noset. Okay. Okay. Now, so IP interface brief. So yes, now everything is okay. On router number 3, interface F0/0. I'm going to tell to this router that this is your IP NAT outside. This is outside interface. Then interface F1/0 IP NAT inside. This is your inside interface. And guys, I have defined inside and outside. Now I need to configure NAT. So command will be IP NAT. After that, source IP NAT, and let me put question mark over here. After that, inside, and then source. What is source? So source will be the IP address of server, yes or no? So here we can say source is static, and then you will define the IP address of your server. IP address of my server is 192.168.20.2, I think. Let me check again. Yes, 20.2. Okay. Now if you will put question mark over here, it asking for what? See, this is IP address of inside local, yes or no? Here also you can see inside local IP address. So inside local IP address will be 192.168.20.2. After that, it's asking for inside global IP address. So inside global IP address is 102.1.1.1, yes or no? And now you don't need to write anything, just hit enter over here. Okay. Now if you will run command, so IP NAT. Guys, how to check NAT configuration? First of all, let me show you that if you want to check configuration, so you can run run and section IP NAT. It will show you the NAT configuration only. So see how many command I have run. IP NAT outside, IP NAT inside, and IP NAT inside source static, this one, and this is my public IP address. This is my inside global IP address. Okay. After that, IP, so IP NAT, and hit put question mark over here. See, you can either run a statics command. So let me run a statics. You can see this is your outside interface, this is your inside interface, and total active translation is 1 only. So I have made only one entry over here, yes or no? Okay. So after that, next command that you can run over here is translation. IP NAT translation. So see, this router is going to translate this private IP address into this public IP address whenever it will receive traffic on inside interface, and whenever it will receive traffic on outside interface, it will translate this public IP address into this private IP address. So guys, from ISP router, if I will ping this IP address now, ping 192.168.1.1, not this IP address, this public IP address, sorry, 102.1.1.1. So it will not ping this interface, it will ping this server. It will ping this server. Yes or no? Later on I will show you that also. So this is, a static NAT configuration. Now let me check that outside user are able to access my, server or not. So let me take you on ISP router, and from loopback 1 I am going to ping. So if from router number 1, if I will ping to this IP address, to this global IP address, will it work or not? Yes, because public network information are there. but I cannot ping my private IP address 192.168.20.2 because this network is not available in the routing table of ISP, but I can ping to this IP address 102.1.1.1. But if you will ping to this IP address, it is not going to ping router interface, it is going to ping server. See, I am able to ping success, it is 80%. Next time success it will be 100%. I am not able to ping, this router. How you can verify? Let me enable debugging on server. See, here I am going to enable debug IP IC MP. Okay, and now again I am going to ping from loopback 1 interface. So if you are thinking that I am pinging this public IP address, so you are wrong, guys. If you are not pinging this public IP address, actually you are pinging this server with the help of this public IP address, because here I have configured one-to-one translation, one-to-one mapping. So let me ping again from ISP, say ping this one. Are you able to see the ICMP reply on server? Yes or no? Because server is generating reply. That means I am pinging to this server, not this public IP address. So this is one of the interview question. Interviewer, most of the time interviewer is asking this type of question, that here I have configured one-to-one mapping for this server, and from outside if I am pinging this public IP address, will I ping this interface or this server? So most of the people are saying that I will ping this public IP address, but guys, that is wrong. Yes or no? And see, these are also my outside user. Yes or no? This is outside user. From this machine also I can ping this server. Yes or no? So let me take access of this server, this PC. Actually this is my actual window PC. So let me turn on this device. It will take few minutes. Okay, now let me open it. Yes, now it will take really some time. So what I am doing now, I am minimizing it, and just wait, let me stop the recording for some time. Guys, it is taking much time, so what I am going to do, I am minimizing it for now. And from ISP router you can see here, right, from loopback 1 I am able to ping. Yeah, right, you can consider loopback 1 as outside user, and from here you are able to see I am able to ping 101.1.2, but through this public IP address actually I am pinging to my private server. Okay, so I have hide my private IP address as well, and through this single public IP address anyone from the outside can access my server. Yes or no? So I will share this public IP address to outside user to access my server. Okay, now here in this side, inside A, I have lots of end user devices. So here I am going to configure both dynamic NAT first, then I will remove dynamic NAT, and then I will show you PAT configuration. Okay, here I am not going to give access of my server to outside user, and if you want to give access, you can configure one static NAT as well and dynamic NAT. On a single router you can configure a static NAT, dynamic NAT and PAT, all right. Multiple NAT you can configure, no problem. Okay, now on router number 1, here first of all again I am going to define what, let me check that I have access or not. No, it's still starting. Okay, no problem. Here I am going to define inside and outside first. So interface F 0/0 IP NAT inside. This is my inside interface. After that, interface F 1/0 IP NAT outside. This is my outside interface, right? And now guys, actually now I am not going to map one-to-one mapping, right? So what we need to do, we need to define one interesting traffic over here, right? We need to define this network as interesting traffic, because my destination is not a single. IP address now. My destination is entire network. So what I can do, I can create one ACL, I can create one route map, right? Doesn't matter how you are defining interesting traffic, just you need to define this network ID as interesting traffic. And if there are more than one local area network, suppose this router is also connected with one switch, and here also I am running one network 192, suppose 192.168.30.0. So for both you need to perform natting. So you will configure on one ACL, and through that ACL you can match both network. Okay, so let me configure one access control list over here first. Access, let's say IP access list standard, and let's say NAT. Okay, this is name of my access list. Here I am going to say permit 192.168.10.0, wildcard mask is this one. Okay, hit enter. So I have created one access control list. Through this, till maybe that ACL is used to permit on block the traffic, but ACL is used to permit and delay, as well as ACL is used to define interesting traffic as well. Okay, so here I have created one access list. If you want to verify, so IP access list, you can run this command. So IP access list, and you can see I have created one ACL, and name of ACL is NAT, and here I have defined this network. Okay, now I am going to configure dynamic NAT. So IP NAT, after that again inside and source, and this time source is from this list, yes or no? So I am going to say you need to match source from the list. If you have configured route map, you will define route map over here. If you want to provide a static, you can provide a static as well. Okay, so here you can define, you can see specify static, local and global mapping. Now here I am going to say match source from list number what, NAT. This is the name of my ACL. Yes, and now you need to define the pool. Yes or no? Pool, name of pool. So let me define pool over here, and then you can say the name of pool. Yes or no? So guys, so suppose I am giving name of pool is, let's say, PM NAT. This is name of pool. So I will create this pool as well. Okay, after that, if you will put question mark over here, you can see overload. So this keyword will used in PAT. So let hit enter over here. This is the command to enable dynamic NAT. Now we need to create what, pool. So IP NAT and pool. After that, name of pool was what, PM NAT, and here we are going to define the address. Here you can see start IP address. So public IP address, let's say 101.1.1. Starting IP address 101.1.1. Let's say 2. From here, this is the starting IP address of my pool. After that, see end IP address. So in my pool there are suppose 5 IP address, 101.1.1.2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not 2 from 3, because 2 is running on ISPN. From here, from 101.1.1.3 to 101.1.8. Okay, so in my pool there are 5 IP address, 5 public IP address. So how many user can access internet at a time? Only 5 user. Yes or no? Because there are only 5 IP address inside the pool. And then guys, you need to define net mask. So let me define net mask 255.255.255.0. okay, this is how we configure dynamic NAT. Now configuration is done guys. From current PC, let me show you, am I able to access internet or not. Go to current PC, and before that, if you want to verify configuration on router number 1, let me show you some verification command as well. here. So run and section IPNet. This is first command to check the running configuration of NAT. So here you can see I have run how many command? 4 command. To run, to enable a static NAT, you need to run only 3 command: inside, outside, and 1 NAT entry. For dynamic NAT, you need to run 4 command: inside, outside, after that this command and this command. Okay. Now, so IP NAT. So here you can check inside and outside interface as well. Here you can check pool. Here you can check, access control list. Okay, these things. Now, so IP NAT translation. If you want to check translation, sorry. So now you can see there is no any entry in NAT translation. But if Karan will ping, this is Karan PC. Here I am going to ping 8.8.8.8. First of all, let me check that Karan is able to ping or not. So Karan is not able to ping. I need to troubleshoot that why Karan is not able to ping as well. Yes, Karan is able to ping. Success it is 60%. Yes. And now if you will check IP NAT translation over here, you can see the all translation. Yes or no? So this router have translated this private IP address into this public IP address. Yes or no? And here you can see this is inside global. This is your public IP address. This is inside local IP address. This is your private IP address. Outside local IP address is 8.8.8 and outside global IP address is also 8.8.8. Okay. Here you are not able to see any port number because this is dynamic NAT configuration, guys. Okay. If I will ping again, see the NAT translation. Okay. So this is how we configure dynamic NAT. Now these all user can access internet, but problem is only 5 people can access internet at a time. Yes or no? Only 5 PC can access internet at a time. So there are only 5 PC. If you want to check, you can design this topology in EVNG or GNS3 and you can verify it. You can run command like ping, after that repeat, and you can send 10,000 packet from one computer. Definitely it will take some time. And run same command on 5 PC, then you will run same command on 6th PC, then 6th PC will be not able to access internet. Now guys, I have access of this PC. I think this PC is now working fine. Yes. Here I am going to define one IP address. One IP address. Okay, it's saying to restart later. Network setting, and here in Ethernet I am going to define one IP address from same range. Now you can see this machine have IP address from APIPA. It's taking time. Okay. Properties, and in IPv4 here I am going to define manually. So IP address will be, let's say, 10.1.1.10 and subnet mask is 255. Here is also 255. Here is also 255 and here is 0. And gateway is, let me check the IP address on ISP. So IP interface brief. Here what is the IP address? Here 10.1.1.1. And this interface is manually done. So let me run no set command as well over here. Interface f2/0, say no set. Okay, now let me check the protocol and status both are up or not. So yes, now you can see protocol as well as status both are up. Now gateway will be 10.1.1.1. Okay, let me hit OK over here, say OK. And what I am going to do, I am going to access this server from here through public IP address. So on server, let me run some command like http on server on all to disable debugging. After that config t and IP http server and IP http authentication local. Okay, now from PC let me check first of all, am I able to ping server or not? First of all, let me check IP detail. IP address is 10.1.1.10. Okay, now I am going to ping. Here is command prompt. From here let me run ping command, ping 192.168.20.2 20.2. So through private IP address I cannot ping, yes or no, to this server. So I can ping through public IP address. So public IP address is to 102.1.1.1. Let me ping. Yes, you can see I am getting reply. That means connectivity is there. Now I am going to open one browser over here and let me take access of this server from here. If I can access through public IP address, that means I was not pinging to router interface, I was pinging to server. Here I am going to define the IP address. Connecting, just wait. Okay, now it's not working fine. Let me open another browser. Here I think Chrome are there or not. No, Chrome is not there. Google is also not there. So through this only I have to my actually mouse is not working smoothly over here. What it's saying, diagnose connection problem. Okay, here I am typing the IP address of public IP address 192.1, sorry, 100 http colon and 102.1.1.1. Let me check. So you can see it's asking for username and password, yes or no. So now let me define one username and password as well, dear. Okay, on server I am going to define one username and password. Where is my server? Here it is. Say username is, let's say, Cisco, and password is, suppose, Cisco 123. Okay, now I am going to type the username Cisco and password is Cisco 123. Password is Cisco 123. Cisco 123. Actually, this is how you can take GUI access of router, yes or no. So just I try to take GUI access, but it's saying unauthorized. Let me do same thing again in new tab. Here 100 102.1.1.1. This is my public IP address. Username Cisco and password is Cisco 123. Actually, this browser is not username and password. Password is Cisco 123. Yes, it's fine. And let me here privilege level also. Let me define privilege level 15 and password Cisco 123. Okay. Now password Cisco 123. Yes, now you can see I have access of this server, yes or no. You can see the name. Okay, so through this public IP address anyone from outside can access my server, yes or no, because here I have defined 1-to-1 mapping on router number 3. Okay guys, so whenever you want to share your resources to outside user, you will configure 1-to-1 mapping. Okay, and now the last thing is, here I am going to configure pat on router number 1. So let me take you on router number 1. I am going to remove the static dynamic net from here. Config t, say do so run and section ipnet. I am going to remove dynamic net. Say no, and let me copy this entry. Okay, say no, and let me copy this entry. Dynamic mapping is in use, yes or no. So that's why you are not able to delete, you are not able to remove this command. Okay, what I can do, I can reload this device, yes or no. Or what I can do, no, not reload is not solution. So IP NAT translation. Okay, so entry is there, clear IP NAT and translation. And one more thing, let me say star, yes, and so IP NAT translation. Now you can see there is no any entry, so NAT is not in use. Now can I remove dynamic NAT? Yes. Now I am able to remove this both entry. Now if you will run command do so, run section IP NAT, you can see there are only two command, I think, inside or outside. Yes or no. Now let me check access list. Do so IP access list. So access list is there. Okay, I am not going to configure new access list. I will use this access list to in pat. So guys, command here, only one command I need to run, that is IP NAT inside, and source is from list number, list, and name of access list is NAT, and after that interface fast ethernet 1/0. So overload. So what will happen now? It is going to translate all private IP address into the public IP address which is running on interface fast ethernet 1/0. Okay, and let me hit enter over here, and now so NAT translation, and if you will ping from current computer, let me ping. Okay, and here you can see the entry. Yes or no? And are you able to see the port number? Yes. So this is, guys, pat configuration. This is how you will configure pat. So there is not much difference in dynamic NAT and pat, but still there is good feature in pat, port address translation, because here we can use we can translate all private IP address into a single public IP address. So this is IP address of Karan is translated into this inside global IP address. Let me ping from Ruby computer as well. So here is Ruby computer. Let me check that IP address is running there or not. Say no. Just wait, guys. Okay, enable config t host name. Actually this is router, this is not PC. So here I am going to run node IP routing, right? Let's say Ruby underscore PC. Okay, and say no IP routing, IP default gateway 192.168.10.100 and interface F0/0 IP address 192.168. Let's say 10.2 255.255.255.0. say no set. Okay, now from here I am going to ping again 8.8.8 and from current computer also let me ping. Okay, and now on router number 1 let me show you NAT translation. See, this is IP address of current and public IP address is this one. This is IP address of Ruby and public IP address is same. Yes or no? Because now it is translating with the help of port number. Yes or no? So source port is, here you can see port number is 1025. Port number is 1025 for Ruby and 1026 for Karan. Yes or no? So Pat is going to put one port number for one user. Okay, and this is how Pat is works. Okay guys, so this is all about NAT. We had discussed what is NAT, how NATs work, and how many types of NAT. We discuss static, dynamic, and pat. If you have any doubt, you can let me know in comment. But guys, last request to you is, if you have learned something from this video, please hit on like button. If you have not subscribed this channel, please subscribe this channel. We will meet soon in next video. Till then, stay safe guys. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.